Can you guys all hear me? Awesome. All right. How's everyone doing this week? Had a pretty good week on my end. Still super busy. Lots of family stuff going on, but making it through. Don't have too much to go over on Pixelcraft side. I saw some of the messages about the VRF, and I just want to say that we got notified by Proof of Play just like I think it was 2 weeks ago, I think, when they notified us that they were turning their VRF off, which was like, come on, guys. They had not, when they originally mentioned they were. No, it didn't last. They mentioned before when we signed with them, I did ask them a couple times, like, are you guys going to keep this around for a while? It'll be a real pain in the ass if we have to switch it later. And I think that was before they had announced they were shutting down. So they said, yeah, we'll be around. We'll be around for a long time. And then suddenly I'm seeing a message from them saying, oh, by the way, we're shutting VRF down. Like, oh, come on, guys. Apparently they sent me an email to my Pixelcraft Studios email, but it went to spam, and no one ever mentioned it to me in our communications group with them. So that's fun. So I do have a patch that I'm working on. It's kind of a big thing we got to fix. It affects the Aavegotchi contracts, obviously, with the portals. It affects the land parcels, and it affects the forge with the geodes. So basically I have to do 3 fairly invasive kind of upgrades to those contracts. Always fun. I don't know if I don't know if they lasted a year. I think maybe it was more. I mean, let's see. Basically, when we were launching on base, they were rolling out VRF on base for us. So yeah, maybe they didn't last a year. I'm not sure. It's pretty crazy. So yeah, that's the big thing that I'm working on right now, is just going through that, making sure that we don't screw anything up, because VRF logic can be touchy, especially we've never really used Chainlink VRF 2.5. We were always using the old version, which was Chainlink 2.0. So there's like some API differences that we got to account for. So I have that PR. I'm working on it, reviewing it right now, basically. And then when it's done, we'll make an announcement and let people know that it's been updated. Just general maintenance of the protocol, always fun. Who's working on it? Coder Dan's working on it. Coder Dan, along with his fleet of agents. Now it's a fairly standard PR, but there's a lot of it is like there's some API changes that they made, and I just want to make sure that we don't bust something in the storage variables with our diamonds and things. So I'll roll it out probably first to the Aavegotchis, and then to the land parcels, and then to the forge. We've got 3 different PRs to make. And yeah, I guess the logic is just use Chainlink, huh? Just use Aave, just use Chainlink. That's the meme. We shouldn't have used Proof of Play, but they were so much cheaper than Chainlink, and we were just like, it'd be cool to work with another game team. Pirate Nation was still afloat back then, so I thought it'd be cool to do a partnership with them. Chainlink kind of gave us the cold shoulder on Geist. That was not fun. I was really trying to get them to deploy VRF on Geist, and I even mentioned it to Sergey. I saw him in an elevator at SmartCon. Kind of cornered him actually. It's like, yo, could we please get VRF on our L3? And they wanted us to do the whole package. They wanted us to do the CCIP plus VRF for like, it was gonna be like millions of dollars. Just said, like, we can't do that, man. But can you just please like throw us a bone? Give us VRF for 100K or something? No, they didn't want to do it. So Pyth entropy is good. Yeah, we also was exploring that, and we actually signed a partnership with Open Zeppelin to have their Defender on Geist as well, because I was going to use that for running Pyth entropy with Open Zeppelin and Defender, but that ended up, they also like are Open Zeppelin Defenders also, like, they're kind of sunsetting their whole Defender as well soon. So I man, it's a mess out there, guys. Anyone know when all the Gotchi Battler rounds are over? This is the last tournament. Let me check. I know that registration opened a couple days ago, and the first tournament will start on April 20th, 4/20, baby, at 7, I guess it's 7 a.m. Singapore time. Rails is on point, putting the announcements in the Gotchi Battler channel. So if you haven't seen that, go over there. Here's the announcement from their side. Registration is going to end in 2 days, so make sure that you are registering. And yeah, I don't know if that is the last tournament. I think they have a couple. I mean, 100K is definitely not the total amount. Pretty sure they have a couple more tournaments that they're going to be doing. Not exactly sure how many, but I am pretty sure this is not the last one, is it? I don't think it is. Maybe Brills, can you confirm? Is this? There's still going to be more Gotchi Battler tournaments, I think. I mean, part of the partial treasury distribution was to Gotchi Battler, I think, right? And yeah, Zonza, we did hit quorum. Hell yeah, 104%. 3 times 100K ghost tournaments for the beta. All right, nice. What about is there any plans for the ETH that was distributed to Gotchi Battler and to doing a tournament for that? Will the Battler PTD be distributed ETH or Ghost rewards? Yeah. Nice. ETH tournament announced after the beta concludes. Very cool. We have 243 teams signed up so far. So that's what, like 1,000 gotchis so far? 1,000-ish gotchis? 1,200 or so. So yeah, there's still quite a few tournaments and things to look forward with Gotchi Battler. If you have not registered, go over there already. Jump in. $512 winning teams. So there's only 243 teams registered so far. So literally every team that joins is going to win right now. Is that accurate to say? Yeah, everyone can engage by playing the campaigns. That's right. You don't even need real gotchis to play. You can have your spirit gotchis play. But I mean, of 20,000 gotchis, there's only 244 teams, not of which not all of them are gotchis. So plenty of room for more gotchis to join. I have to zoom out to register. Yeah, you got a lot of gotchis, Anza. They should have a special 100+ gotchis UI. 10K Ghost Spirit Leveling competition is live. Win Ghost prizes while leveling up your spirits. Nice. Well, very cool. Thanks for the announcement and the updates on Gotchi Battler. And hope everyone here should be getting some teams registered. We'll have a nice little Gotchi Battler tournament. Let's go to the DAO call. I know there's a couple issues. I see that we did meet Quorum on the last AGIP, which is great to see. And then I think there was maybe Nestor. Did you want to continue discussing your or the idea of Quorum and adjusting that so we don't have these nearly these nail biters as much in the future? And any other DAO issues we want to go over?
Hi there. Do you hear me?
Yep, loud and clear, sir.
Loud and clear. Hi, Codadan. Hi, Faith. And hi, guys. Yeah, I started a thread about the tiers, the quorum tiers, and I also very happy about that changes the situation a bit. We just talked with Faith about what we want to speak about today, and since we hit quorum, well, we can get really down to business. What we are planning now for some months. Yeah. So my first suggestion would be, to meet up now, or all signers who are here, just to talk administration and organization. That's the first comment.
Yes, sir. Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah.
A little bit of an echo, though.
Is it from me or is that from? I think it's coming from Nestor.
Yeah. I have an echo. Okay. I turn it down.
It's my voice, like I hear myself.
Okay.
Test,
I'm quiet.
test.
Okay, test.
That's strange. Okay, let me rejoin.
Let's test again. I hear. Quiet I am. Okay. I turn it up. Bring the micro closer. Good. So yeah, last minute in the last minute or in the last half an hour, there came in, I think, 1 million votes. That's very cool. And now we can proceed. I just wanted to make an announcement to notify all future signers. Let's see, who do we have here today? That's Crazy Crypto, PG, Brills, VR Dev, Zounzy, and who else? Me. So Maxi is also not here, but I read him in the chat, in the signers chat. And yes, there would be something to sign today. That's regarding Face. I wanted to talk with you. I don't know if you hear me now, about the liquidity on Aerodrome. There was an issue with the with the rewards, with the aero.
Can you guys hear me?
Reward. Yes.
I see Nestor's audio moving, and I can't even hear him.
You can't hear me, but the others can. Or, okay. Okay.
You hear
Some
Nestor?
here. Some here, some not. Maybe I can try to rejoin too.
Yes, I'm wearing headphones, but I can't hear anything for some reason. Just waiting. Hold up. Let me see if I could hear Nestor. Sorry, guys. Hi, Nestor. Can you say something? Just so I could. Okay, but you guys can hear me? Okay, cool. Sorry about that. Basic Discord things. You can hear both of us? Okay, I just, for some reason, when I rejoined, I couldn't hear Nestor. All right, fantastic. I mean, we could just get into it till he gets back on. The only proposals we have, as you guys probably know, was the AGIP 159 multi-sig signers and their clones that we did, the 3-week and 4-week clone. As you know, I updated the agenda a couple of times, I guess, in the last 24 hours because the quorum was actually going up. And as of a couple hours ago, the most recent one, which ends in 4 days, was at like 91%. But Zonzi actually just brought it to our attention that we reached quorum on that. So a couple big votes came through and pushed it over, which is fantastic because it means we can onboard the new multi-sig signers and get that secured. That was the only proposal that we had that was live. And if you notice, so there were 3 of them, right? There was the original that ended 2 weeks ago, and then there was the 3-week clone and a 4-week clone. They were posted back to back, and each one, like we were inching closer to quorum. So the one that ended 2 weeks ago, we had like 79%. And the one that ended 3 days ago reached 83%. As of a couple hours ago, this one was at 91%. It was jumping up each time, but I'm glad it got over and we passed quorum, but still, like there was some anxiety around it. And you guys might have had a chance to look at Nestor's thread about the implementation of quorum tiers. And like he said before, when he got on earlier, I think that's something he definitely, I mean, we talked a little bit about it in the DMs, but it's still something worth bringing up on this call. Also, one of the only active DAO thread discussions that we have right now. So I see Nestor jumping up and down. He's probably having the same issue that I was having. Just give him a minute. The gist of it is basically to create 3 tiers. Talked a little bit about it last week too. Based on the importance of the thing being proposed, right? So no major changes. Small, medium, and galaxy. Yeah, those are the tiers. Like we're not gonna be making any significant changes to the protocol. And I guess they're like minor ops. If you had to like describe them, it's like based on impact level of the actual proposal, right? And the bigger the risk. Let's see. Nestor's has his hand up. I'm just trying to
Test,
Ooh.
test. Is it better?
test. It is. I do hear
Much
my
better?
echo from your end.
You hear an echo. I'm sorry. But yeah, no, I repositioned the mic and changed the VPN. And I got
It's being a
echo.
little strange
Okay.
today, for sure.
Okay. Maybe. Try something new. Is it better now?
Test,
no
test.
headphones. No.
Yeah, I hear
yes.
myself.
Is it
I
better
think
now?
that they hear me too.
Okay.
Do you usually have
Well,
headphones, Nestor?
No, usually not. No, usually not. No, I will try to employ some headphones.
Yeah, I think that will help.
That will help. I think so too. Well, now there should be no echo. I hope so.
Test, test.
Now
Yes,
I heard. I heard.
Perfect.
I hear. I hear you, Faith.
All right, cool. I hear you too, and there's no echo. We're good.
No echo.
Welcome, sir.
I had this set up with the speakers past few calls, and it worked. And today, it works somehow differently. So I'll keep that always as a backup. That's okay.
Excellent.
Excellent. Good. So you were explaining. I didn't hear you.
Yeah, I was just talking a little bit about the thread that you started.
Yes.
About the quorum tiers. But before that, also you mentioned something about the signers being here, and I see a couple of you guys in the chat. The signers chat is actually moving, and Maxi is online. So I think
Perfect.
it might be important to let him know that we actually reached quorum. To begin to probably share that Excel sheet to get everybody's hardware wallet.
Yeah, that would be that would be like the first issue. Perfect.
Right.
I didn't mention it. Now it went faster than I thought. VRDev already told me. What about not having a central file? You know, like also because of information security. Simply everybody, I will keep a file and we will store it, and not to make it like visible for everybody. You know, the wallets, the wallet numbers. What do you think about that?
I mean, the way we did it was just it just basically has a name, the wallet that you get compensated to, as opposed to the wallet that you sign from. Because everybody, like one of the requirements to become a multi-sig signer was to have a dedicated hardware wallet you don't use for anything else. Right. And then that sheet was only ever shared in the signers channel anyway. So it's everybody who's there, but then it's a way to it's a way to check against everything too. So you can see who's actually signing transactions. You know, you can match a name to a wallet, right?
Yes.
And also verify when it's, you know, when it's payment time, just if there's any mistakes in the actual
Yes.
transaction. Yeah, all the signers will have that information basically.
And
I mean,
should
I don't think it's a security risk. It hasn't been, at least, but if you could, like, I've never thought of it, and I don't think it would be either if that's how they had done it before I even became a signer.
Look, but it's exactly that. We have to ponder these questions all together and publicly, maybe for input. I didn't think about that point, so that's a very good point. How can I be sure that the transactions before me are really the transactions? Yeah, and not an attack. So we have to always ponder these attack vectors. That's it. That's a good thing. So yeah, if we don't come up with something different, then well. First thing, it's in the channel. So who do we address now for the rights to the channel so that everybody can join?
I think someone from, you know, someone who has the admin on the Discord channel itself. It would have to be somebody from PC.
Okay.
And yeah, we do need to clean up. Like we have, and now it's official. Like we have some people that they didn't either re-elect or they chose to resign from their position. So I mean, the list of what's the official? I think it's called DAO Foundation staff now, like the actual role.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, and so I see Crazy Crypto was asking, where can I see the signer channel? Now that I believe Crazy Crypto was actually elected as a signer. So what's going to happen is the old crew is probably going to have that role removed and all the new people will have that role added. And once you have the role, then you'll be able to have access to the channel.
Perfect. Perfectly explained. So that's one order of business. So maybe No Future is writing something concerning this. We need to swap signers first. That should be our first transaction, he writes.
Yeah.
That would be good. Then we need a date now where we can all, or at least a portion of us, to start this process, because it is a process. As I remember, there are several transactions to be signed to remove somebody from the multi-sig and to add them. Is that correct?
Right. That's true. Maxi's saying he'll initiate once the vote is closed. Even if quorum is reached now, he doesn't think the output will change. So just to make things official, like, yeah, that's a good point. The AGIP does end in 4 days.
Yes.
So
but it doesn't hurt. It doesn't hurt to plan it now, and also to inform everybody about the steps that will come. And when the quorum is when the vote is finally concluded in 4 days, we can just go straight to action. One transaction per chain.
There is actually, for the signers that are here, there is something that Maxi posted earlier. It was there's a signature that needs to go through today, preferably during this call or within the hours following, so that we can migrate liquidity. So I mean, that would be, I guess, first things first.
Yes.
Yeah. Right. If the new people were if our AGIP would have ended today, that could have potentially been the first transaction for the new signers. But yeah, I mean, I agree with what he was saying about the vote closing first.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, and what is this? What are we signing today? That's some liquidity on Aerodrome, as I understood, and it is also regarding some rewards. Maybe.
Right. Yes.
Maxi?
His exact message was, it would be nice if there are 5 signers during Hangout, so we can migrate liquidity. We will not earn arrow emission if we don't migrate.
Yeah, and that would be a pity, because I saw in the DBank account that the arrow rewards are quite, they are a few thousand or $10,000.
Yeah, substantial for sure.
Substantial. Yes.
Yep.
So if we have our liquidity there, then it should at least work for us. So I think that could be on the other side the last, maybe probably the last transaction of the old signing constellation. So
yeah, I think it'll go through fairly quickly. I mean, a couple of people responded in the chat there, and the rest that would cover it are actually here on this call, so
perfect.
shouldn't have any issues with that. Yeah.
As it was.
So
pardon.
oh,
You
nice.
go.
No,
You go.
future already signed. No, I was just gonna say, do you want to get into a little bit about the quorum tiers
Yes,
that
but
we started the thread about?
both. I wanted to also speak about the rewards, but regarding the quorum tiers, yes, I started a thread. I just put the question. Well, how to assess what is what, and signed. And as I saw it, most things regarded the protocol, the examples in the original post. Maybe I can repost it, but not governance. So what is important, because the rule is a galaxy vote, that would be a vote that needs 20% quorum, changes the protocol. In the case of governance, that would be something that is concerning the constitution. So that would be votes that would necessitate 20% of quorum. And the question is, if you want to have another tier where you would need less quorum, for example, 10%, or maybe even a third tier with 5%. That would be, we have to imagine, in our case now, we have 7.2 million VP is necessary for reaching quorum, 20% quorum. So that would be, in the case of 10%, 3.6 million, and in the case of 5%, only, well, not much, 1.8 million. Thank you for posting the link.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
I guess just to simplify it for people on the call, I'm sure they've already looked through the thread. I mean, as of last week, you guys were already discussing it. Last 2 weeks, actually, probably. But how, like, if we had to define small versus medium versus galaxy, what's the like major differentiation between the three?
We would have to define some examples. That's why I had Claude rate it. I gave him, the original file and the original post, and then I also reposted my prompt that I gave to the agent, and with these two things, it calculated, as you can see, percentages, and based on these percentages, tiers. And this is, of course, arbitrary, and it's, in the sense arbitrary that you have to choose, and you could refine such a rating, of course, by choosing the examples. We could simply define that, for example, multi-signer election is not a galaxy election, and by that, everything else would shift too. But luckily nowadays you can make these calculations fairly quick. So no problem. We just have to come up with examples. The examples right now are the examples from the original DAO post. That was on the Medium article. And we don't have examples for government. Yeah, the examples given in the article are all examples regarding the protocol or the network, but the third pillar, governance, is not represented with an example. So we would have to come up with examples ourselves.
Yeah, I was thinking a little bit about that. Do you think? I mean, the idea when you first presented this, or when it was first talked about, was that we would define these 3 tiers based on the history of the AGIPs that we already have, right?
Correct.
But do you think there would ever be like, let's say everybody did their own tally, or whoever cared to went in
Yes.
and kind of went through the old AGIPs? We're at 159 at this point. If everybody went and kind of split those into the 3 tiers, do you think
That
we'd
would be
all come up with the same results? Like, do
No,
you think
no.
there could be any contention about what, what qualifies as each of the tiers?
Perfect question. That's exactly the question, and that would be, I would say, in the sense of gaining insight, it would be wonderful if there would be some contentious questions, because via that we would, like, we could evaluate the matter. If everything, I would encourage anybody. That's why I also posted the prompt. You can put it into your AI, and because it's a personal AI. I got my Claude agent already. That's an agent that I have trained on DAO matters. So it certainly produces other results than other. With this
Right.
agent, I'm writing resolutions and discussing DAO things, like basic things and law things regarding everything concerning DAO. So it's certainly primed, and your agent will be primed in a different way. Yeah. So that would be something cool to reproduce, and that would be that was my suggestion for a first approach. And regarding what is the goal is definitely to make it easier to reach quorum regarding certain questions.
Yeah, I mean, it could help us refine things. I don't think there would be that much of a difference, but even it would be interesting just to see, like, where each one kind of ranks, and what are the numbers that we get. Might help us define the tiers and their quorum a little better. I'm surprised, actually, that I'm happily surprised that the AGIP 159 finally went through. Like, the 4-week clone was the winner, even with 4 days left. Good job, everybody. But still, like, I mean, it's just been a while since we've had another kind of major AGIP, or at least something operational that we absolutely need to kind of go through with. I think at this point it's been, with the onboarding time from the last group of people, I think, like, there's this like 1 or 2 month window that we have where it's kind of, everything's a little blurry. But yeah, now that this is here, I mean, at least we know that the new signers are probably going to be very enthusiastic to sign as well, because, I mean, they're on board now. That's not going to be an issue. So yeah, I mean, just adjusting. I mean, this is the perfect time for that. Like, it feels like this is just we need to come to an agreement, basically, about these tiers, so that there's no stalemate in the future.
Absolutely.
We don't just get stuck.
And that starts, of course, with a discussion, and we are the rights. Well, it would be good if we can come up with very straightforward rules. So we can come up with like examples 1, 2, 3 for Galaxy, for mid-tier, and for small right now, and like define it, then discuss it. And I find one suggestion that the agent made, in the future, just when someone writes a proposal, to self-classify it as according to his, because it can be discussed. That's maybe something to be discussed. Maybe it is contentious. Is it something life-changing or not? And in the future, to implement the rule, put in how much quorum there should be reached, and if after the discussion period there is no change to that, then we can assume that the community has agreed to it, and this the concrete proposal has this concrete tier. How about that for starters?
Yeah, I'm looking at VR Dev's comment here says it would be good if we can come up with a very straightforward rules to classify votes into those three buckets, and we don't necessarily have to use those ancient ones from the blog post. So there should be little to no ambiguity for authors. Yeah. What would need to happen though, if once there is an agreement? So let's say everybody here and everybody who contributes to the thread agrees on something. I'm assuming we would still need another proposal at this level of quorum to kind of make that official, right?
I guess so. Yes. Yes. Of course. Of course. We would need to agree to it. I think that would be something changing the system, so to speak. Although you could argue it was there all the time, but to reconfirm it, it is old. It is ancient in crypto times. 5 years, going into the 6th year. So it certainly is due. And as I mentioned, the governance are no governance examples. Yeah. So we would have to come up also with them. And well, I mean,
this would be a major one, wouldn't it? This would be a great one. Yeah,
I think so too. If there are other ideas, but I think so. Yes, that this could encompass several things. Maybe in such a proposal, that could be an opportunity to also tackle some other governance stuff, because by defining these tiers, we would also, define what is the content of these tiers. So we could also think about like a ranking, like for example, if we there were some suggestions by the agent, for example, task force, or like tiers about the amount. There was a comment by Immaterial that everything that is not operational, every investment by the DAO should be, now in our situation, a galaxy vote. I agree, and that's regarding, investment tiers. So all these things could be something that could, as VRDev says, very exactly define, so that there would be no ambiguity for the author.
Yeah, it would be a great example of governance right here, like making the change to quorum for different types of proposals. I just hope that this time, this would be the one that would implement that. So like, hopefully we won't need 3 and 4 week clones of it.
Yeah.
But well, I mean, we can push it pretty hard with the I think the fact that we can send out the announcements in the DAO channel is helping the cause. And a lot of people signed since the agenda was posted. Like the agenda was kind of like another nudge. It was just saying, hey, we're, the last one closed. It was the same name twice back to back. It's like one closed at 80%, and this one's still live. We got 4 more days left, guys. We're at 83%, and not even 12 hours later, it's past quorum. So I mean, it's doable as of right now, for sure.
It is doable, as we see. So I think so, because whatever reason, those who vote choose or choose not to vote. But if it's like a proposal, and if the supply, or if the offer is not good enough, then I don't react. As a customer, and in this case the customer is the voter, so the offer has to be good. Do I understand you in this sense, that it has something to do with each other?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. And I just read from Musashi, I already made such a questionnaire, a simple questionnaire. I don't know, I will post it later on in the thread, but maybe you have something special in mind. I think that's the way to go. Questionnaires with which we assess data, and to certainly institutionalize in the long run such formal a formal feedback loop with which we can, through which we can act faster. So what do you say? Automated, absolutely. That would be my, I agree. Wow, a calculator for calculating the probability of a proposal passing. That's cool.
So what discussion do you think needs to happen, or like what would you like to see a little bit more of in your discussion thread before we, like what kind of feedback are you expecting before we actually write up a proposal to make this happen?
Okay. An agreement on examples, so everybody who has an idea what be an appropriate example, like a model proposal topic, like defining the head of a task force, for example. I mean, regarding the constitution, I could, announce someone as a head of a task force, but that's not the way we want to make it. We want to agree on it. But does it have to be a galaxy vote? For example, you have the gaming task force or like some other task force, and they have a budget, a small budget. Do we need a galaxy vote for that, or does it suffice to decide that with 10%? That would be an example.
Right. Right on. Yeah, I'm just trying to open this thread real quick,
and
just to take a look. I don't think there's gonna be a lot of pushback against it, honestly. Like anybody who has been participating in governance at this point, especially in the last year or so, I mean, they've clearly experienced this issue that we have and probably understand why it's kind of necessary to implement at this point, just to ensure that everything keeps running smoothly. So yeah, I don't anticipate like a lot of pushback at all, but obviously the sooner we can refine the terms, then the sooner we can have the proposal up and kind of make everything official.
Yeah, but we should start right away. And Musashi, would your questionnaire be already ready? We should start maybe with a small set of questions, but if you say you have already some, I think, yeah, what you asked me with what to start with, exactly this, with discussing the quorum tiers, and that will already change a lot. And Codedan is asking machinations. Well, whatever tool, I think the more everybody has his favorite tools, so it just needs to be transparent. What tools did I use to come to my results, or what did I, you know what I mean?
Right.
I mean, machinations is very graphical, and it has also some proprietary stuff in it, I guess. But it's a super cool app, but it's a little bit of a learning curve in the beginning. Yeah. Exactly. There are several ways. But just, if I have made a questionnaire, I don't know the site now. I will look it up. Now I'm concentrating on our talk. Just questions. Do you prefer decentralized? How do you exchange Ghost? Was one question. Yeah. Do you prefer sexes or dexes? Yeah. Would you disclose what dexes you use, for example? Are you interested in staking? Yes, no. And when you have a response, there are some psychological studies, people get a master degrees for studies with 2 or 3 participants. If we had like 20 or 16 like we have today that would answer such a questionnaire, you could already assess a good bit. You could also, extrapolate from that quite fairly good. If someone has interest in staking, for example, if from 16 people, 14 says no, or I don't know, well, then staking is not popular. But if 8 or 9 say, yes, I want staking to be implemented, well, then the question is, what's hindering us, you know? So that already makes a difference,
Right.
in my view.
Maxi, with the AGIP 159, will I continue as treasurer?
I would say,
I suppose yes, due to this paragraph.
yes.
I thought that's what we were voting for. Yeah, it kind of had it in the name too.
Yes, but Maxi, thankfully, yeah, exactly, has copied the passage from the proposal that it, yeah, this proposal is focused on the multi-sig execution and the question of, explicitly, the question of the officer structure is deferred, and there's no time horizon given. So when we have finished this whole process with the multi-sig, that will take another week or two, we collectively will have to tackle the question of the officers, and if there will be only one, and how we want to proceed with that. Because I think that was an AGIP by you phase, the last one, about the officers, and well, there should have been a renewal. Yeah, I don't have the exact passage now in mind.
Right. Yeah. I think.
Oh.
I mean, I think even as the signers would probably agree. I'm pretty sure that happened before I was a signer myself. But they were kind of in agreement that Maxi already had that role. That's by the time they came to define it, he was put in that position. So there's never been any kind of talk about replacing Maxi as the treasurer, as long as he chose to keep doing the job. Yeah.
Yeah.
He does initiate most of the transactions. Speaking of which, just a couple minutes ago, that transaction that we were talking about that was kind of pertinent about the liquidity transfer. Yeah, that just got signed and executed. So thank you to all the signers that were online during this call. That got signed in record time.
Super. So that works even with limited, but the officer role, exactly as you say, it's essential, the treasurer officer role or financial officer role, whatever you want to call it, is like you say, that's an essential role that we cannot live without. So but we should already also consider, that's also tied in with terms and with payments. Now we have renovated, so to speak, the reward structure for the multi-sig signers. That was an essential part. And in the case of officer, we have to think about that too. And the question is, if we want to have another officer, I would say yes, but that's a whole discussion in itself. Yeah, like I could imagine an officer for gaming. Yeah, gaming commissioner it was called, I think. Formally. So let's complete now the multi-sig administrative thing first, and in the meantime we prepare that, because that would be a question, just a concrete example. Deciding about an officer. I could designate them, the director can designate officers, but I wouldn't want to assign anybody based on what? It has to be on collective agreement, and on collective sentiment, on reasonability, and so on. So that has to be something that is backed by the whole community, or the deciding part of the community. And so now we have the question, do we need to make it a galaxy vote, or could it be a vote with 10%? Right.
That's what I was just going to ask you. Like, what do you think that's it? When you were talking about it, that's exactly what I was thinking about. I was just like,
Perfect.
which one of those would you think that would fall under?
should I say it? If I say it, I'm priming everybody. You know, I would ask you maybe if you have a hunch. I will tell. I can write about it extensively if you want. But in the first iteration, what do you think? What should it be? Everybody here in the audience deciding about the officer position. You know, should it be a galaxy vote or not? So that's like the first you know, division in the tree. And if we go even go further down the tree, 10%, 5%, that's the next step. But in the first step, is it a galaxy vote? Does it need 20%? What would you think? What would anybody think here? What would you think?
I have an idea. I'd be curious to see if like people in the chat have the same kind of idea that I have. Mine is on the safer side. Hint.
Safer.
Yeah, like just right, like to not potentially cause any kind of exploit that I'm not considering, but you know, mine would be somewhere in the middle.
Well, nothing is to say that we cannot define tiers that are not mentioned in the in this old DAO doc. We could also have a tier with 15%, for example. Yeah, why not? If you say in the middle. But I would say yes. The question surely is, does it draw from the treasury? Of course, every DAO paid position draws from the treasury, so it would be something that we would have to determine when we know how much, you know, the appropriate pay is for an officer. That would be something to discuss maybe prior to assign it to a certain tier.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So with that understanding, like the people in the anybody with an opinion on this matter. So it's a great example, I think, because it's not something that exists as of right now, but it could potentially in the future. So
let's use it.
I mean, if we're trying to work it out, right.
Perfect. Because that's something I think that could be packed also in one AGIP, or maybe there are two AGIPs that will evolve from that. Also, no problem. But I think these two questions, this question, which is a practical one, we want also to have a solution for that. But at the same times, it is like a guiding example for the other issue, which is the tiering of Quorum, and we use that Right, correct. It's a fresh one, so it's not like impeded by anything with a history or limited history. So we are writing history. Okay.
There's a question from No Future here, which is also worth reading. Yeah. Is there a dollar limit for the galaxy trigger of Quorum?
Absolutely, there should be. I think, but as of now, there is some mentioning of, but anything that was, you know, written even for 6 months ago had another economic environment as foundation, and now we have, so there should be.
That's right.
I mean, yes, I think it should be maybe a percentage. It could be a percentage of the treasury. It could be not an absolute number, but a relative one.
Even a dollar value would have the same kind of like we.
Yeah.
With this new election of signers, we updated the compensation just because of the value of Ghost, right?
Correct.
So if we were saying that you're paying 9 people to be multi-sig signers, that meant something way different 3 years ago. If you're paying them in Ghost than it does today.
Absolutely.
So, yeah, relative amount would not be good. He's saying fixed.
Yeah.
There would need to be,
Yeah, that's.
I mean, I think everybody understands. Yeah.
Yeah,
right.
You know, that's the important thing, that we are clear about what we are asking, and thus we can discuss it, and well, we will see what the swarm brain comes with solutions about. Percentages could be anything over time. Well, yes, but the fixed amount, of course, it underlies also some, you know, dilution or inflation. You know what I mean? Yeah. What is a dollar worth if Bitcoin is at 1 million? I don't know.
That's true. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. I mean these are two. We are now two orders. Well, one order, only 1.5 orders. But if something changes, you know, in the economics or in the world by an order, like times 10 or times maybe even times 100, then you have to discuss it. And you too, Kodadan. Have a nice weekend.
Yeah, good night, Coda. Okay, so I think that's. I mean, everybody who's been listening in or paying attention for the last couple of weeks understands kind of the reason for this. So I mean, like I said, I don't expect that much pushback at all, but it would help to kind of define these things, make it as least contentious as possible right before it goes to a proposal. Nobody here actually, I mean, there were questions. I'm going to give you guys credit for that. There were questions, but nobody actually gave their opinion on that. And it's good. Ask the questions first and then kind of decide where that example that we just gave should fit into the order of things.
But as you say, it shouldn't be contentious, but often it is. Nobody gives push, or there will not be much pushback. You say maybe some pushback would be good because it would spark a discussion.
Of course.
Yeah, that would be the positive side of it. But let's address, as you said, let's address the question. Did we address all of them? No future. Thank you for asking. Does it draw from the treasury? I understood the question as the pay for the officers would draw from the treasury, I guess. Would not, I guess. I'm certain. Where else should it draw from, right? And by that you could calculate. Let's say, what do we have for the signers now? Let's say it would be double for the officers, like a number. How much would it be per year? And how much is it now for the signers? I think $1,000 per quarter. So that would be 8,000 per year. Okay. And now you could ask the questions. Is a decision about 8,000 a year? Like that's one way of asking the question. Is it in the middle tier or is it in the galaxy tier? But would 8,000 in itself be a question that needs a galaxy vote? 2.5. Maxi says, and No Future says it depends on the treasury size. Well,
that's interesting.
Yeah, I mean, where are we now? Exactly. We are just discussing that. Where are we now? Okay, 2.5 to pay. That would be if we like take the signers compensation with 4,000, then it would be 10,000. You know, so we could ask the question, or we could like stipulate. We could define everything that needs an investment of $10,001 per year has to have a galaxy vote. Would be a possible. No, I can write that like an idea into the thread.
Yeah, for the people not listening in on the call, like they'll probably come to that on their own time. But
that's correct.
Yeah, to have it in writing, it would be okay. This is what we're dealing with. Do you agree or disagree? And you know, if you disagree, tell us why. This has always been the case with any AGIP, really. It's like kind of every time we have these meetings on the weekend, the idea is please, like, if you have any pushback, there are a couple of people here that are regulars, and they keep up with all the discussions, so they always do have ideas. But for everybody else, it's always like a lot of the time, some of the the disagreement, or even like you get these people that are disgruntled that come in after the fact. So it's like, why didn't you put this option on the AGIP? You know what I mean? I wanted to see this, and it's like, well, no one actually thought of what you just said. If they was like it wasn't to your satisfaction, and the form of the AGIP that got published, you know, you're not voting on it, or you're abstaining because you don't like the voting options. So it's like, if you're a little bit more involved, at least you're way more likely to see the voting options that you care about end up on the final proposal.
Such an important point. Maybe someone hears every DAO call, but not at the call, but like on Sunday or on Monday, on his drive to work, and so he has this routine, and but no option, but because answering in the chat, no, that makes no sense. So these cardinal questions that come up in a DAO call, we should look into it, like I will, and maybe you too, to distill them and just repost them in the appropriate thread, or make a new thread about it, or maybe
exactly.
Somewhere.
Exactly. Yeah, this is what we usually see. Is, I mean, the discussion is kind of refined here, and also in the threads, like historically, obviously. But this is where we kind of can speak about it, just on voice, and then in real time, people are kind of responding to the things, or even just reiterating what they had already said in the thread, or points that have already been brought up. So, I mean, it always helps.
Well, it's if we should come to a formalized procedure regarding that, that will be a game changer. Yeah, that's exactly that's exactly the thing with memory. You know, everybody who's building now agents or agent systems knows that how to build in a memory, that the quality and worth of your system rises and falls with that, if you can iterate, if you can iterate on something, and if you can rely like on a body of already gained knowledge. That's
end up with the best final product. So in this case, it would be the best written AGIP for the situation, and then people vote accordingly. And even if you're not particularly interested in the topic, so I mean that by then the rest of the community would have already refined it to the point enough that if you're just going to go in and click a button, one of your most likely options are already available to you. You're just like, okay, yeah, I think this makes sense. Boom, click, and be done with it. See what the rest of the people are saying. What do you agree with? What you don't agree with? But just as a form of, I guess it's to kind of like deal with some of the apathy when it comes towards signing. Like, I haven't been able to gauge it. I always, throughout the week, I kind of look at the snapshot, and I'm trying to find the pattern here. I'm trying to say, like, how come sometimes, I mean, it's obvious for some AGIPs why the votes come in fast and hard, but other times I just can't make any sense of it looking at it. Like, it ebbs and flows, like sometimes it's just heavy on the first couple of days, and then there's no real issue reaching quorum. It's just slow and steady for the rest of the time. Sometimes it's the opposite. Like, there's nothing, and then there's a couple of reminders, then suddenly boom. Like today was a pretty good example of that. Absolutely, like, if I had to bet money last night when I was writing the agenda that it would have reached quorum by the time of the call, I would have voted again. I would have bet against that, but here we are.
Exactly, as we have, you wrote me and I wrote back, I think 2 hours prior or something like that. And
right.
at that point, the situation was completely different. We would have talked about, we would have had another discussion entirely. So that's changed, as you say. But what should be reliable, as you say, sometimes you don't have a strong feeling about the topic, and then it's already almost impossible to talk about it, because nothing moves you to talk about it. But if there is a talk about it, like here, and a discussion about it, and there is also some work made on the topic, and if somebody who does not want or cannot make the same work on the topic, they should have access to it. So, as you say, so as to be able to click a button. I rather tend in this direction, I rather tend in that direction. And via that, I think, our quality, as you say, the quality of the proposal, and also what leads up to it. Yeah, because as you
Right.
say, the proposal itself, that's the quintessence. That's a result. You know, that's a result of a maybe like, yeah, in some cases month-long process of discussion. And how did it come about? Yeah, and that's also a topic I think, yeah, that was discussed in past months, and now I see we have a lot of in the chat. Or is there
Yeah, I mean,
something? Yeah.
this will be the first week ever that I host this call and don't ask you guys to go sign something. So congratulations, everybody, and thank you. Like, yeah, we set a new record today. Like, there's absolutely nothing to sign till the next time you guys hear my voice. So
Yeah, that's
fantastic.
right. Not to sign, but to participate. You know,
Absolutely. Yeah, yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, get in the
So
thread still. Okay, you're right. Yeah.
yeah. So you can stay here a while longer and ponder things. Regarding the officer issue that we would take as an example, I will formulate it like that. So that should be a separate thread. Fred, what do you mean? What do you think? I think that should be a separate question. Even if they are interrelated somehow, but I think we should open a thread for that. I mean, the question is...
Yeah, if you guys, are you talking about Maxi specifically, or are you talking about adding another one? Or are you just using it as a hypothetical for in the event that if you wanted to add another treasure?
Well, it's a question, yeah. Should we talk only about the treasury officer role or officer roles in general? I would tend to officer roles in general. To define that. Yes. Because otherwise we will have the question again in the case of adding a new officer, you know? So we could, like, you know what I mean? If we are talking the special case now, why not also ponder, do we want a rule to have here?
Yeah, I mean, I think it would fit perfectly into the thread that you already have, just to use it as a kind of what if scenario, and then, you know, see what people actually think about it. Like, maybe it's we're asking a bit much to have them come up with ideas right here on this call. But if everybody, like you said, sit and ponders it on their own time, they could probably be like, well, we didn't think about this, or
it's often like
that.
Or I hear the call, or we have the call, and only on the next day after you know, after sleeping about it, I come up with something, yeah, revisiting the whole thing, and that should be like it, yeah. That's absolutely correct. Yeah, that's a good thing. You're right. That's on the one side it is an abstract example, or like yeah, for a tier topic. A question that is defining for the tier it represents, and on the other side we have the very concrete topic of well, payment and like institutionalizing the officer role, and that will be a separate thread. So what do we have?
Yeah, I like that idea. I mean,
Okay, cool.
I'm actually gonna try to do it over this week myself. Is just kind of revisit the history of the snapshot and kind of do my own version of that.
Okay.
Just to see where based on my current understanding, like where I think each one of those would fit in, and then I'd like to kind of match it up against yours or somebody else's, or what the DAO at large kind of agrees with. Like you were saying about the AI agents, that each one would come out a little bit more personable.
Certainly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think there'll be a lot of overlap. I think for the most part, based on the more pertinent questions, like where our lists will be more similar than they are different.
Absolutely. The interesting ones would be maybe very limited, or maybe not interested, maybe would only differ in the not so important questions, like, what, I don't know, change the color of something. But for some it is a deciding question, you know, like for a designer or some yeah, you know, it really depends on your tastes and your character in some cases. So, but also that's also something that's interesting to explore, and I think we could learn from each other by just that means. That's a good idea. And I also wanted to say, if someone doesn't want to post in one thread or the other, I invite anybody to use my old thread. That's intended. That is intended for that, like a dump, for something. That was the. Let's see how far down it is, but maybe you remember that was. I called it Terra.
Yeah.
As a row of, I don't know, restructuring or something. I even forgot my own acronym. Because efficiency, towards efficient relays of resources. I wanted to match it Terra. So that's an
Pretty
early
good.
discussion. Well, thank you. But yeah, but acronyms, acronyms are very powerful. And yeah, like for example, multiple sclerosis. Yeah, only after the acronym got invented, the necessity to tackle it came to the consciousness of the population. So it can be powerful. Yeah. So Terra, yeah, use it as a dump. Dump everything into Terra. If you don't know where it could belong, I am inviting this explicitly, and I will also write, I think. Yeah.
Let me post the link to that real quick. I found.
Thank you. I mean, I myself used it a little bit in that way. I see my last post was about Aragon, where the first, as we talked about history, where the first DAO vote happened, ancient history. And yes, if we ever should think about remodeling our voting system, we don't have to use Aragon, but Aragon wasn't idle. They evolved their protocol and they have, I think, a whole IDK, like a suite where you can create your own governance and voting system. So they are in this business, and they are very much canonically on the side of on-chain voting. Yeah, so we still have off-chain, like a hybrid. We have a hybrid of off-chain, on-chain. Yes, but many DAOs and many crypto groups define this as an absolute, dogma, only on-chain, and that's also, I think, that doesn't have to be a dogma, but it's a good direction, I think. Yeah, so that would be an example, yeah, for something like that, and if anybody finds anything interesting, I think we should have something like that. Yeah, any idea? So towards this efficient relays, everybody of us is this relay, and everybody of us can make it more efficient.
Right on. Yeah. So for everybody here, just in case we're missing anything, you've heard kind of a little bit of the talk about the tiers at this point. If you come up with anything throughout the week, please do throw that in a thread. Let it help kind of refine the language of the final proposal, so we can get this thing off the ground. But I think it'll be good.
Sorry, I didn't want to interrupt. Yeah.
No, you're good. You're fine. Go ahead.
I just was astonished about our chat is now quite lively. And did you have the chance to look? So maybe moderate or.
I did. Yeah, there's a little bit of a marketing discussion going on, talking about some of the DAO funds, and kind of even the question of what are we marketing, and it's a little bit of a back and forth.
Well, yeah, and that's interesting. I agree with Flame here that it's a shame, he writes, that we have so much, but we pretend we still need more product. I agree. We have a product. Well, let's say we have enough. We have a lot. And the second thing he writes in the first sentence, we practically have the product, yes, but nobody knows about it. So that's the question about how to, spread the word. The gospel. How the gospel comes out into the world. And I agree, it is important on which medium, which way. I think that's not It's not trivial.
And yeah, I mean, look, there's a back and forth kind of going about, you know, well, if you don't think there's a marketable product, then why are you here? And I don't, just personally, I don't think that's fair, because like if somebody invested and they came here and it doesn't look like, he would know if that's an opinion that somebody has as a member of this community, as an early investor. He would know. If, I mean, he would feel it. It's a personal thing, but if you feel like there's something to be marketed, it would be very clear for you at that point. It's not like, so in this case, it would be Supreme Pablo, right? Supreme Pablo was here before I got here. And yeah, he's still here, and it's true. Like, but I don't think that, like, people are asking him, why are you still here? Like, why would he not still be here? He's at the very least, he's looking after what he invested in originally, you know, and he bought into something, and he's keeping up with it. So if someone like that feels like we might not have a solid product to market right now, then maybe we should listen to that voice instead of being like, oh, you should leave, you know, or if you don't see what there is to be marketed, then you don't belong here. Because that, I mean, then everybody else who holds that position, we're kind of going to be agreeing on the same thing. It's like, okay, yes, we need a marketing budget, and this is exactly what the messaging should be. You know, like I saw, which is interesting to me, because I saw this week, Nadiel, I don't think he's here right now. I thought maybe he'd want to talk about it. He talked a little bit about it on last week's call. This idea that he has, it kind of says like, I just don't want to get the name wrong, but it's something to do with that, basically marketing and communication, right?
No, so, you know, it very reminded me of an idea. He had it more worked out than I have. Like, as I understood it, an LLM, you know, agent or an agent group that is covering certain topics of governance and DAO and our product and so on, and like agents that can be spoken to. And I also looked forward to talk about it a little bit more. So, but what is the gospel? I see. Yeah. What do we sell? Yeah. All of these things would have to be answered, or could be answered, by implementation of such a thing. You know, communication maybe, or interaction could be enhanced through that. And I think, as you say, this idea very worth of exploring how to. Yeah. I think you meant that, or it was by Nadiel, the idea of an LLM or agents that one could use. If I understand that correctly.
But this is my thing, is like that. This is Flame was a big proponent of this early on, a couple of years ago. He was very adamant that, you know, we need to get our stuff together as far as marketing is concerned, like having a marketing budget and being very
but as you say,
kind of focus a lot more on that. And this is, to me, when Nadia brought that up last week, that's what I was thinking of. Like, okay, this is kind of the revival of that same sentiment.
Yeah, but it will come up. But I wanted to add to you what you said also. That's perfectly expressed. You know, you need both positions. Yeah, there will be some who push for more of something, and others who have a different view on that. And it's the richness is exactly that. No, it's not that some of the groups or of the positions should vanish or leave. On the contrary, that should be an evolving process that also adapts to the changing environment. You know, and this question is, well, comes up. There are questions that will come up with every iteration. You know, in another form. So both positions are valuable.
Yeah, and that's kind of the reason why I brought that thing up, the discussion that's happening in the chat, as well as Nadiel's thread, because I was monitoring it. I was just like, oh, I'd be interested to see right now from the people who think that, yes, this is a good idea, or that probably what's missing in the formula right now is our marketing strategy. But then, fortunately, I mean, the thread is pretty empty. Like, there haven't been any really strong opinions. Supreme Pablo, who here, he was actually the only one that replied in that thread. And he's like, you know what? Like, if you're going to make an effort, I actually support you. So I find that interesting, that the people that would be like, no, what are you talking about? We do have so much to market. So then, you know, how do you guys feel about maybe contributing to that thread and so that others who might not feel that way can see things your way. Like I'm one of those people. I'm just like, okay, we have a treasury, right? We could put money towards marketing, but I'm in the camp right now of I don't like I'm actually a marketing and advertising major. Like that's what I studied. I wish I didn't, but I did, you know.
Okay.
But
It's interesting. Yeah.
now when I look at it, I'm just like I don't feel like I'm convinced enough, and I've been a long time member of the community. You know, just like Pablo was saying that he is. Like I don't. So if I can't even clearly define something that I think like, yeah, this is an absolute winner. Like we should definitely market this aspect of the protocol. You know, if I can't do that, then I mean, I'm kind of like, either I'm not seeing it clearly or there's something wrong here. So I'm kind of like monitoring that thread to see like, okay, somebody will give me an idea soon, and then from there, we can all kind of contribute. There's got to be something, right? If everybody's still here,
Yeah.
or maybe there isn't, and if there isn't, then we kind of that's a major issue that we probably have to tackle that before even thinking about marketing anything.
Oh, perfect. I mean, we should start with the personal stuff. If it's not too personal, if you can say one sentence, why would you say you studied it? So you had something led you to it because you saw the value in it, and now you say you kind of regret it. Could you condense that to one sentence? Why would you say that you regret it now?
I just personal. It's been half a lifetime ago at this point, and it's just how I feel about my university tuition in general and everything that I've worked in since then. Basically, like this, it didn't serve me as much as every other skill that I've acquired along my life. You know what I mean? So I would have put that money into anything, like including starting my own business. It's just a personal thing. It's not like. But and especially because of in the modern world. So at the time that I went to university, like not all that information was just free on the internet, but you could literally learn exactly what I learned in a marketing and advertising degree on free courses online today.
Yeah.
Like you wouldn't have to pay anything. That information is just readily available, and it's better than it was back then too. So.
Oh, I agree with you. So that's another topic, education, also something everybody of us has, I think, makes his own course every day. And that's the thing. I think we all are taking in a lot of information on a high level compared to like 5 years, 10 years ago, easily, and yeah, make it maybe accessible to others. That's why I ask. And as you say, it's almost impossible to catch up with all of that. But in it is regarding the marketing question. Well, in the classical form, like go from door to door and stick it into the faces of people. In that sense, I don't am for marketing. But the way we tried to do it, I think.
I mean, if I could be honest, that
yes.
The Gotchi Greeters was a great initiative. In the first couple of years, everybody was super excited about Gotchi Greeters. They did amazing work. Everything looked amazing, and people like the greeters themselves told you over time and time again, like it became Aavegotchi became a very recognizable brand at time and time again when they started going to more of these events. People knew they just recognized the IP. You know what I mean? They recognized the product. They're like, oh, it's you guys. Like the sweaters stood out, everything. It was fantastic, right? And to me, this is it's like it's revealing itself. It's for the same reason, like if you go back and look at the AGIPs for greeters, they always passed with flying colors. What has changed in the last year, where when Gotchi greeters came to renew their budget, it got voted down pretty heavily. It's almost like there's a collective understanding that no, we don't need greeters right now. It's not working. You know what I mean? Whether or not people are talking about why that's the case, there's this that's what the result of the AGIP ended up showing. You know what I mean? And there was some discussion. There was some pushback when the thread started for the budget, and I was one of those people. I'm not against greeters. I was very, very pro greeters the entire time I was here. And even other people that were, they literally left that comment in their vote on the AGIP. They just said, maybe not this year. Hopefully we could try again next year. If we can address the root cause of like what's different now, do we feel like there's a lack of growth in this project? Are the products marketable? What are the products? Just the very basic questions. And then if you weren't a member of this community, how would you feel if, as things stand right now, someone approached you to tell you about Aavegotchi? Would you be interested? You know? And if the answer is yes, why? If the answer is no, why? And then from there we can kind of, I mean, if there's any hope for this project, that's where it's going to come from. We have to go back to the basics. We have to answer these very simple questions, and then we have to ask, like, yes, you might be emotionally attached to your gotchis. Understandable. You've been here for 5 years. But how do you expect, or how do you want somebody new that you're presenting the idea of Aavegotchi to also feel the same way?
Yes, that's the point in acquisition, in user and in member acquisition that you are, I think, referring to. And that the last sentences I will take them if you allow me. And that was the perfect pitch. As you formulated all these sentences, that's like that. I would want to repost that as something to give us all as a guideline to think about. Yeah, and that was also something I was aiming at with the question of the gospel. And as Crazy Crypto is now writing, I wanted to draw the bridge to some permanent things that are marketing, and that is market making and our ghost price. Of course, that stays as a constant. Non-regarding, yeah, it's comparison to the dollar, but that's our our Aushängeschild in German. That's like the sign on the storefront, yeah, our coin, and that's an important aspect, of course, but not the only one. But that was perfectly said in the sense that what drew me, that was what I meant. I thought about it under the shower today. What drew me to that, and what is something that is, something common. Maybe we haven't formulated it yet, when the product is quite abstract, because maybe everybody joined for different reasons, but there is maybe something that is it's very similar in the motivations of everybody who is drawn by it, and we just haven't expressed it, yeah, or we have at sometimes expressed it more and now less, and yeah,
I'm with you, man. Welcome spam bots, but also welcome Crazy Crypto.
That was a good sign. Hi.
Thanks.
Hi,
On the same line with spam bots. I love it to be on the same line with spam bots.
They just jumped up right there.
Well, they are sensing there is something going on here.
Yeah, there's something going on. I was just thinking. I use the chat not to interrupt the good exchange between you both, because I want to be a bit more radio silent the last weeks, because I thought everything was already said. So to cool down a bit. But in the back, of course, I'm looking to the market. And once Koda then also asked me, "Hey Dennis, how you see it from your perspective?" Because it's very challenging. And when I started, I would say 9 years ago to found like a media company, and my background is marketing, so banking and marketing. So I learned in 2 fields. I saw that a lot of companies have problems. If you look, for example, to Cointelegraph, which is one of the biggest blogs, they started once with very big conferences. And after a while, they did some wrong stuff. And now they are completely de-indexed from Google. So they fall down from 4 million visitors to nearly 0. And everything from Cointelegraph is completely de-indexed. You have other sites. So you see, it's the media landscape is changing. The blogs are changing. The blog landscape is changing. And also the conference business is changing now, also with the postponing of Token 2049 in Dubai, or events all over the world, and so on. So I love events because I was participating a lot, and I really like the emotions and to connect with people. And I think that Gotchi creators did a great job. But I think you always have to understand the market and when it's the right time. I would not say we don't need an offline presence, because for sure, that's like Macron would say, it's very important, but it's all about the overall strategy and the momentum. And what I see at the moment is that there in this bear market period, you see like some tokens like the Rave DAO token, which was pumped by Binance, went from 20 cent now to 28, from 20 cent to $28, and it was also a DAO. And in the end, of course, you could tell a story, and also with the NFTs, because they also had an NFT collection. But I think that at the moment that Aavegotchi and the DAO in the next weeks or quarters should definitely define, maybe with the 56 ETH which are left from the unclaimed wallets, or even more like a strategy and maybe even a marketing or media officer, and then define, okay, which products are really worth advertising. And myself is seeing at the moment the biggest move in the TCG market, so the trading card game market, because with 30 years of Pokemon and One Piece and football cards, and this year football championships, I see that now all the game companies, because I have a lot of contact with Nintendo, one of our clients is Nintendo, and I see that it's really going very crazy. And I also ask myself, okay, why is the DAO not thinking about like a version? You have like NFTs, but you also bring out like a trading card game, and we can even collect new money, a new funding round, to do it very proper. Because I remember that there was a company called Cyberpunk, like a game, and they raised now I think 17 million just by asking the community to get some money to make a trading card game. And I think we as Aavegotchi and as a Aavegotchi team in general should think about really, okay, what's the next level of iteration in gaming, of play to earn, and what is having a chance to survive. So we should not look back, because on the roots a project started, but this doesn't mean that it should not evolve. And we just should think out of the box, and hopefully in the next quarter, I have also more time. Maybe some other people can join, like an expert round, and we talk about marketing and creating a plan and then submitting a proposal. But looking forward, because all the different things like NFTs and the game should be in it. And this is just what I want to say. So the feeling is that at the moment the market lives from pump and dumps, like Binance is doing now with Rave token, with 5,000% in 3 days. And of course, other DAOs maybe also think, okay, we could be the next DAO, which is pumped by Binance or by BitGet, and it could be the Aavegotchi DAO. But this is not the purpose of this project, I think. But of course, if you have contacts to them and you have the right persons to talk to, you could easily make a 5,000% pump also for Aavegotchi. So in the end, it's all about the strategy the project is having. It's all about the long-term vision. It's all about the founders. Also Koda then, where he wants to bring this project. If Jesse stays on board, if he is still on board, I have no idea. You know, it's all about these questions. Then we should.
So many questions.
Yeah, fine.
But before you forget the good points you made, you have so much content every time you you come on, and you're covering like such a broad array. But let's stay with concrete, like the cards. There are also all seasonal things. So where do you see how? I mean, you're free to, you know, the process is. Let's talk about it that we are now doing here as we talked with Face. After that we will make a thread, so that would be a perfect topic. And the question of cards, I remember Hardcore also spoke about that card, so that idea was also here. Where could be like, or do you have information? Would you be willing to start a thread about that, like you know, cards, because that would be like something that would also be in relation to a potential marketing officer. And I could see, or like public relations, I would call it public relations officer, because as you said, the market is changing. Sometimes there is more money and willingness to be spent on conferences, on personal meetings, and it's seasonal. So somebody who is detecting this seasonality, who is bringing up these topics and ideas, I mean, it was like a pep talk for this role, I would say, Dennis.
Yeah, no, all good. So as I said, I just went a bit silent the last 4 weeks, because I thought it's also sometimes good to go some steps back and then go forward, because at the moment it was all about the Multi-Sig signers, it was about the new direction, about quorum changes, and this is essential. But I already thinking about some marketing approaches, because I aligned in some thread with VRDev. He also said he would support it, and I think the Gotchi creators team is also great. So if we have a bright unit and the bull market comes back and we are prepared with a plan, that's totally fine. So I can just tell you, I hope I have more time. My son is at the moment very challenging with 4.5 months, and you remember how the time was.
Yeah.
And at the moment, family is my focus. But I really want to stay in this project and I want to bring it forward. And I will think the next weeks about how to maybe own a part of the marketing departure to maybe increase the value of the project for everyone.
Yes, and
That sounds excellent. That sounds great. I mean, like Nestor was saying, the idea of the cards has definitely been floated before. And the crossover too, like between that and marketing. So Flame, who's here in the chat, like big proponent for marketing from a while back, was saying, come on guys, kind of get on it. There's been a kind of revival. There is confusion around it. In my opinion, I think that's why the thread by Nadia hasn't been that active. There weren't any very specific things written in there either. Like I looked at it a couple times. But there is this interest. As soon as the topic gets brought up, I mean, we're talking about it right now because it was actually being talked about in the chat right here, right? So it is on some people's minds, and obviously as a DAO, everybody's kind of trying to think about, okay, what do we need to do as a DAO? Future brought it up here, Crazy Crypto brought it up here. It's like, okay, when are we going to take our destiny in our own hands kind of thing? And then what does that look like? In what form is that going to happen?
The good thing in general is because you can also reach new audiences. And sorry, the TCG market is a completely growing market with a CAGR, so change of annual grow rate of hundreds of percent when you look at different markets. And you could place Aavegotchi and the DAO on different conferences. On this conference, and this is a difference to a crypto conference, it's all about cards and purchase and exchange and trade. So when you go to a TCG conference, and it's always happening in a stadium here in Germany, for example, in Berlin Stadium, Frankfurt Stadium, Munich Stadium, 10,000 people coming, 15,000 people coming, and they're just buying a table, and on that table there are TCG cards, and they are sold over, and this is what makes a difference. If you have like a booth, or if you have like a project or product, you can go there and afterwards you have like a KPI that 10,000 people maybe saw Aavegotchi, but you made also 10,000, 15,000 just by selling some cards which are connected to some NFTs. You get some Gotchi in addition to your purchase and so on. So activation for the Gotchis, activation for the floor price. This is a completely way to make it organically.
That's a good point.
Honestly,
you have to go. You have to go with the market. If TCG is now on the rise, and we have collectibles, and there are some creators also who made like collectible stuff. So yeah, that would be a perfect combination. So how to go about it? Concretely, when is the next big TCG conference in your region? Maybe everybody, we are spread around the globe, can look. And what does it cost? What does it cost to have 1 meter? We don't need much. Like you say, if the turnover would only be, with 10,000 visitors, if the turnover is 1%.
It's so funny compared to crypto. You just get a table, 2-meter table, sometimes for $250. And if you want to have on a crypto conference 2 meters, you have to pay 10,000K. So 10K. So now you can make every TCG conference in Europe for the cost of 2 crypto conferences worldwide. So what is the question to start, right? And this is what you must bring in the big picture. This is what I mean.
No, we just did that. So what about the greeters? What about the idea to send out the greeters not to the crypto conferences this year, but for the remaining of the year to these TCG conferences? If it costs, I don't know what it would cost, because as I understand, on the crypto conferences, it's very intense. There was a major thing done. I written about it in the thread of the greeters. They are doing so much. Maybe the Aufwand, what has to be done, the workload would be much smaller here. 1 meter, you need 1 person, and it just has to be the presence. It just has to be the presence. And if from the 10,000 people, like 500 take home the card and put it in, go to the site, and if 10 people, join, that already, you don't know if that, It could be someone who's
it's in the end the big plan what you said. You just have to make a storytelling, because what I want to say, you have like 3 or 4 different things you could do as AavegotchiDAO. You could acquire another company, and then you just do press release and said Aavegotchi requires this and that company or this or that project, and it shows a growth story like P&E, so private equity is doing. You always acquire something and communicate it so to stabilize the share price. That's the first version we can think about. The second is, if you do like a TCG conference, you can also make PR to say a crypto company called Aavegotchi is going viral. When they entered the TCG market, they visited this and that conferences. They made enormous parties left and right. So we make also a collector party so that people understand what Aavegotchi is normally about. And it's all about storytelling. You just have not to see only the conference. And this is what I meant also to Bock and the creators. You must have a story around, like a vertical. You go to the TCG, you have like a flag that everyone is seeing, and on pictures Aavegotchi is there. You make a party or you make a dinner, you invite people, and you grow this brand on this, and you always have like some footage and videos to spread this around afterwards. And then the community is building and the community is like growing, and you also can generate money. But this is like the mix between offline and online. I just want to say, but when I have some more time, I can present you a completely market overview, because I do 15 years marketing overall, so I can definitely support you.
You both, FaZe and you are both pros, and you already did that. You are condensing all your years and decades of experience in the sentences you use already. For me, you brought it up, you sold it to me, that we have to talk more about the story, because the story is also the gospel. The story is also the founding principles by which everybody joined. The story, I think Foreign wrote, we had these attempts of making a comic, we have these attempts of evolving the lore. And the market we are speaking now about, the TCG market, that's a fantasy market. That's people who love stories, who played, Magic the Gathering in the early years. So these are people who are, their fantasy, their thinking is within stories. And I think that's an. And we could also one question to recapitulate. For price growth, you need, we will acquire this or that company, or we are now entering a new market, and we make threads about it, and we make articles about it. Maybe you will, your company will post about it, that we are entering the TCG market, and maybe we could make like a call for, or a competition for this group of people that we not have addressed, and that was recently always very averse, but maybe this changing to NFTs, but maybe this is changing too if we are entering the TCG market, and a call for evolving the lore. Maybe like, what is it called? Preisausschreiben. Make a competition. Make a competition for evolving Aavegotchi lore, to put everything together, what we have, and to make an invitation and a prize for maybe someone who feels inspired to evolve the story, the lore story.
But in the end, it's marketing is about what I said. This is why I don't want to jump normally on this call, because it can get long. We should just postpone this topic maybe, and just find like some days in the future to talk about. But I just want to say the TCG market and the storytelling of Aavegotchi is the first thing in general to think acquire or go into a new market or whatever, and then do marketing and also presents on crypto conferences, but as well also on TCG conferences, but on different angles. And this is then also where I agree, when the market is getting better, and then people see, okay, that's a brand which is active, which is doing something, which is not doing only games, and there's a big overall story. And in the end, the main topic is that's a company which is selling fun in games, offline, with events, with TCG. This is the main story you have to tell. This is a crypto company which is selling fun.
Absolutely. Not only fun, but also,
makes a lot of sense. Yeah. Absolutely. It makes a lot of sense to me that there's something else that would draw people, because that's always been my main question since I've been here, literally. Like, I was waiting for certain games and stuff that never came to be. But aside from that, it was like, okay, so I'm the guy, like, I got brought in to Aavegotchi by my brother. If it wasn't for him, there was no way I would have known about Aavegotchi, and there was no way I would have put money into Aavegotchi. He's just like, hey, man, come check this out. And so I did it. It's like I kind of just joined him, right? So then I started asking that question about, once I became a community member, I'm asking that same question about people on the outside. I did it because like I trust my brother. When you go to market something, you don't have that family relationship with somebody, you know what I mean? So it's not like, hey, come check this thing out that I'm doing and get involved. So what do I have to actually kind of promote to them? What am I telling them to spend their energy and money in?
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
If there is something in a different market that's physical, that could answer that question. That could tie them. If somebody becomes interested in Aavegotchi because of something like trading cards, then they find out that this started off as an NFT project, and then they can make that kind of clean transition over into the digital side of things. They might buy an NFT. They might get, you know what I mean? They might get some Ghost, like whatever it is. But if there's nothing to draw them initially, that's the problem. And this is blowing my mind actually about the $250 tables at these thriving conference at these events, because we obviously paid way more than that for the crypto conferences, like you mentioned, and it's almost sad because our booth always stood out. Like it looked really good. People were drawn to it, even if they didn't end up buying. But it could be literally the audience. It's just the wrong audience. So you're doing the right thing, but you're at the wrong place.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
This is also the conference, the crypto conference is also when I visited with my wife. It was always when my wife asked me, okay, Dennis, we are now here, but what can you do on a food conference? You can eat, you can taste, you can have different new things, you know? And when you go to a crypto conference, everyone wants to sell a service. Hey, we are smart contract auditing. Hey, we're the best play to earn. Hey, we are the next ICO for satellites. Hey, we are the next, everyone is just doing that story. And that's the point. If you go to a conference where you have something and you can use also this as an angle of activation. Imagine you enter the TCG market, and when you go the next time to a normal conference, and I would also say you need a mix between crypto conferences and this, you can say, hey, only if you visit our booth on a crypto conference, the next big one at Token 2049, you can get the next collection of this TCG, or you can mint them. You get only on that booth on that 3 days, you get it. And what's happening? Some people come and then they can resell it to others which were not there, and the value at the market and a bid and ask is created,
Oh, you create a new market. Well,
I really like it, honestly. Like I mean, I hear potential. I'd be curious. Like, please do start a thread, because I'd love to see what other people would say. As I said before, there wasn't a lot of response to Nadiel's thread, but I mean, there's some ideas here. There's some solid things. Like maybe we're targeting the wrong people. It could be as simple as that.
Yeah, and the cards itself, we would have to produce them, or how does that work? How does one enter? What does one need? What is the minimum viable product set for showing up? Like every Aavegotchi that is now out receives a card, or like it could be fiction. Could it be fictionless? Or characters, that are all questions. And then of course the question of production. How does one do that? One sends, if one has the artwork, the artwork and the idea, the concept, then we would have to send to some company, I guess, in China, and let them produce the thing. So we could very well start to work on a concrete business plan. We have evolvement of a concept for the next 4 weeks, 8 weeks, also the artwork, and in 3 months or 12 weeks is our deadline for sending the thing to Shenzhen or wherever they are producing the cards. And well, this takes a time, about 8 weeks. And so we could have by Christmas, for the Christmas auctions or conferences, we could have the cards. Something like that we should start. And what's the investment horizon? Is it much to produce? I think the most valuable thing in all of that is, of course, our time, the time of the artists and of those who make the concept. But yeah, that's a group thing. Everybody is invited. Yeah.
I mean, it would be like, imagine that idea was floated. We kind of focus on it as a DAO, and then I mean, I think it could even revitalize the DAO, because even making all those decisions of every question that you just asked right there would include a group effort. You know what I mean? And we're going to vote on it. There's going to be like more active participation. Like, yeah, this is the product that the DAO created. It's a DAO, like every aspect of it was kind of like refined and then voted on by this group of people that are trying to like grow this project. So I mean, I really do think there's something here. I'd love to see a thread about it, honestly.
Absolutely, and who knows? Maybe by that way we could also help PC make revenue again. I mean, everything could be revived by that. And if they make revenue, well, as we know, we would become some of that back. So we would, yeah, we have to give all the stakeholders of our project a chance to put in what they have to give.
Yeah, guys, I just posted here in the chat the link that you understand also the potential. The game Cyberpunk already raised 23 million just to create a game. You also have to understand the story starts not with us making the business plan. The story starts with doing crowdfunding, maybe as Aavegotchi on a third party, also like Kickstarter or others, which are existing to say, hey, we're the first crypto company which are involving another community to raise money for a TCG. We can even go that way, or we work with someone and create it in partnership. So imagine you can even integrate partners into this trading card game like Coinbase. And there's a Coinbase card which is doing something special, or there is a whatever a BitGet card which is doing something to the game, so that there's a gameplay. I just want to engage you to read to how Cyberpunk was doing it, because you can learn a lot here, and also how they set the targets. When they reach this will happen, and what you can create and give out. So because it makes sense that you understand first. And I think the next narrative of the next 2 years is that more and more video games will create their own TCG, and that the TCG market is growing, and there is even potential for the AavegotchiDAO to create one of the world's biggest conventions or conferences, and make even money with event management and activations to own this brand, and to work with all the gaming companies and TCG companies and Nintendos, and like a fun invention, you can say. Not only crypto, we must go away from crypto, that you say, yeah, that's Aavegotchi, they started in crypto, but crypto is an enabler. It's all about fun, and they are in this market, that market. The same like blockchain. In the past, blockchain, I have to invest. Now, 2026, you hear blockchain, you don't want to listen to it because they're all blockchain. So you just have to put the crypto away, the play to earn fact away. You just have to think more out of the box, okay? That's a brand, TCG, NFTs, gaming, games like Steam, but they also organize their own events, like the Solana's doing the Solana Breakpoint, for example, right?
Right on.
So that
right
was
on. Excellent.
That's a vision. Thank you very much for.
Yeah, seriously, thank you for. Yeah, that was a good boost for morale. Like maybe just something no one is really even thinking of just at the end of the call there. But please do make that thread.
The link.
Just for the people who missed it too. I know there's a couple that listen back to these calls. Not that many, but definitely there are, and they come in, they chime in after the fact.
But please feel free. You can do this thread. So please feel free to open it. You have the points, and so I don't have to own this thread because it's really challenging at the moment here with my little boy. And I just want to join in here, bring some maybe thoughts. So how I see it at the moment, and so for me it's over now. I wish you all a great weekend, because otherwise the call is longer as expected.
Wrap it up.
It's okay.
All right, thank you, man. Thank you very much. Yeah, I mean, the reason I was asking you to make the thread is you're clearly more knowledgeable. Like I don't know anything about that market at all. It's all very eye-opening for me. I am gonna look into it though, because it's pretty interesting. But yeah, even if the thread doesn't go up, as long as we continue the discussion from week to week, we could probably get somewhere with this. At least see if there's any interest amongst DAO members.
Yes, to start the discussion. That's the first thing. To start the discussion and to begin thinking about it and to inform ourselves. As Dennis said, I will have to read into the topic too. I don't know much about it, so only via my son, who is very interested in Pokemon cards. So, and he's also interested.
Really?
It's astonishing how much sites and how much adjacent business is to the cards. There are very sophisticated markets. In Tokyo, there's a whole street only for cards, for Pokemon cards. So and the market is like moving. It's like a market with real-time updating prices. And now he also, through our conversations, starts to think about, well, what do I invest in? He sees the TCG. I don't know if this is also a TCG card, the Pokemon cards, but the card market is a it's a big one. Yeah.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, it's a lot to think about and a lot to learn too. Like for somebody like me, I would have to, like I said, I looked into it. I'm probably going to check this out. But yeah, super interesting. Thank you. Good ideas too, right? So there we go. Like we're talking about marketing. It leads up to a conversation like this. It's like, okay, see, these are things that are marketable as well.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's kind of, if we want to sit and talk about marketing, in my personal opinion, the way things stand right now, it's like we're not particularly marketable. I'm sorry if that offends people. I'm not trying to be offensive. This is just a personal opinion. I can't see myself, like, honestly, if I can remove myself and kind of sell the idea of Aavegotchi in 2026 to myself, I would be like, oh yeah, thanks, but no thanks, kind of thing.
Uh-huh.
So that money spent to market towards me would have been a waste. It might not be the same for others, but that's just how I see it now. And I'm saying that out of love for this community and out of all my time spent here.
Honesty,
it's not
honesty. It's
yeah, it's not meant to be FUD or disrespect and none of that. It's just that's where I'm at with it right now. But it doesn't mean that anything is dead or anything is hopeless. If I'm hearing stuff like this and I'm like, wait, maybe Crazy Crypto has something here, now we need to do a little bit of work, look into it, see if it's viable for us. And I mean, like you said before, this idea has been floated around before. Maybe at the time it didn't make sense. Maybe now it does. Maybe more people will feel like it's a direction we need to go in. No Future kind of did mention a pivot, but I was thinking about this, like the word came to my mind, but the kind of pivoting that I'm against, or like what I think has been detrimental to us here, or maybe not got us to the point where we wanted to go, was kind of more from the PC side of things. So it was like the thing that we initially, we became DAO members because we invested into PC's vision, right? So there was a thing that we thought was going to happen essentially. And over time that changed and changed and changed and changed. So now here we are, we're a DAO. We have our, this treasury that we built up. We stuck around and we're like, okay, how do we remedy this? So anything that we take, like, even if it feels like a drastic shift, I don't really think it's a pivot in that sense. I think it's a direction change for sure. By definition, but I think it's like us trying to find out where we can win as a DAO and as a project. If the IP is the biggest deal here, and it was the contingency on which we funded PC, then it is. It means that overall, if everybody voted to fund that, then it means inherently you guys see the value in the IP. So it's
exactly.
Like, fantastic.
Exactly.
Fantastic. What are we going to do with that IP?
And it's an idea. The IP is an idea. So it's always the question how to market it. And maybe, as you say, we have to find the right market fit, the right time to find this wave. But as you say, as Bock said, it's an experiment. Yeah. So we are experimenting here the whole time. So it seems directionless, but we gathered data. We tried a lot of things. A lot of things is unfinished, like in a messy laboratory, everything is laying around half finished, and it's not very encouraging. But you are testing, and I think your proposition, your like the idea that the IP is what inspired the most, is right on. Is right on, and
it's brought up time and time again. So it's like people definitely see value in it. It's what we leverage to fund PC. Everybody knows that the IP is valuable, and it's like, okay, so what do you want to do with it? That's it. It's very simple. And obviously we have to try things. Like that's kind of what's been agreed upon across the board for the last couple of months at least, is like, oh, the DAO needs to do something. Before it's like, oh, the DAO needs to build, the DAO needs to build. And there's this pushback about, well, the DAO tried to build. Then DAO building became kind of like too expensive. People are like reluctant to pay to have amateur game developers build games. Fair enough. But so now what? You know, so what's the next step? Like cards don't have that same barrier to entry. Like this is a market that we can learn about. We have artists, we have storytellers, we have everything else that would be needed to actually create this product. So it's not an issue of you know, amateur developers or putting up too much money up front and kind of hoping for the best result.
Well, and maybe it's a whole new product pipeline. Maybe the thing is that everything is individual. Maybe somehow create your own card, then you send the you know, the Bestellung, you know, you send it simply the model to China and receive it. Maybe a pipeline where you create absolutely unique individual cards. Yeah? Fake cards would be a great start, for example. We could start also with that. And so, as you say, just to thinking about new markets, new methods, new audiences, and so on. I think, yeah, that's the way.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's like potentially our only move forward at this point. Everything else is kind of like we're doing more of the same. It's fantastic that we're figuring our governance out and tightening up. This is all great. But then it's like, okay, if we're a perfectly governed entity, what are we doing with that? You know what I mean? It's like we need to make moves as well.
All these aspects stay anyway. You know, we
absolutely.
didn't even talk about the coin, the market making. Well, that stays as a constant. Governance, it's for me important. I will always stay on that. It will always be a driving factor for me. That's why I joined, because I saw like the possibility of new forms of structures, economic and social structures, and it's a difficult process. And others, like, you know, the NFT stuff or some technical stuff and all that.
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly.
It stays, it remains, yeah. But it's like, and then what do we do with that? Like once we've learned to effectively communicate and make decisions as a large group, how do we make decisions that are in our best interest?
And this part, when we look back, we will look, and we should also do that. It's another project of that can be tackled at the right point. Write a history of our DAO, because we now survived, you know, 2 cycles.
That's right. Yeah, we did. Oh man. All right. Well, Nessa, do you have anything else?
I think that was a very, very productive call, in the sense that we have a lot of inputs, ideas. So I will, not at this point. I wouldn't even want, even if I had, I wouldn't want to add, because we have now so much material. And and from your side, perfectly. Well, I will revisit it. So thank you very much. So you had some very good, ideas and expressions for it. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, so thank you, Nestor and Crazy Crypto and everybody here for joining us today. That was pretty good. Like, I feel kind of pumped. Like I heard, you know. For this week, so what's going to happen is just to recap, the AG 159, the multi-sig signer election, we did pass quorum, but the quorum officially ends on the 22nd, which is in 4 days. So hopefully, by the time of the call next week, like as soon as maybe even before the AGIP closes, I'm gonna send a list. I guess in the signers chat where Dan can see the list, and just update the list of DAO Foundation staff. So we'll remove the people who resigned or didn't get reelected, and we'll add the ones that are being onboarded. Make sure they get those. So, I mean, we potentially could have them all onboarded by next week.
Absolutely, that's the goal. Let's try to do that, and I will put out everybody that we find, like, should we meet up should there be maybe find a date for meeting up?
Yeah.
all
So
signers?
Maxi was here, and like he said, he was the one that reminded us kind of to do it after. Like he'll initiate the transactions immediately after the things close. So I assume by the
Okay.
22nd or 23rd max, he would have already made those transactions. Everybody's just going to sign them. We're going to do the swaps, and and then just the Discord roles, and we should be good to go.
Yeah, so I will try to find. I will send out maybe one of these planning apps, or maybe some. Yeah, I find something. So we will find on the 22nd after the closing of the. I think that's US. It's in the afternoon, isn't it? The closing. Here it is 8 p.m. So after that we can absolutely officially on the evening start the transactions for this process.
Yeah, we should definitely. So it'll be a couple of days before the next DAO call. So I think by then, we'll have an update for sure. There's no reason why it shouldn't be done by then.
Yeah. Until Wednesday and until the onboarding is like, we already discussed that, but we will discuss it then also. But there is no like administrative hurdles.
No, not at
so
all.
far, so that should go smoothly. And I think anything else we can discuss then on the 22nd on Wednesday.
Excellent. All right.
Cool.
Thanks again, Nestor. Thanks, Crazy Crypto, and thanks everybody for listening. Yeah, we went a little over time, but well worth it. See you guys next week.
See you guys for the week. Bye bye. Have a nice weekend.
Peace.